And here with us in the studio to further explore the implications of the existence of the Museum of the Future is the voice of the future, futurist Tariq Qureishy.
Hello and welcome.
Thank you, Yusuf.
Thank you very much for joining us. Oh, likewise, and all the same from our counterpart, even more. Mr. Tariq, tell us something. Now, what does this building, this marvel, the Museum of the Future?
It actually means literally everything. To me as a person, what I stand for, as a metaphor, as a whole philosophy of life. I believe in vision and motivation and inspiration and making a difference and hope and opportunity. This is what I'm about. So this is what it actually means to me. And then we take it from there, and it evokes a completely different set of emotions inside me. Emotions of complexity, which is how the world is. Emotions of opportunity, which is how we see the world. So these are the kinds of things that happen. And I live in Dubai, so every time I drive past, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, I have a different set of emotions. And sometimes I see it as an eye, sometimes I see it as a void. To me, as a futurist, I'm an explorer. I'm curious. I ask lots and lots of questions like a child. And to me, that empty, void space, the invisible, to me, is more powerful than the visible. And that is how I see it, and that is what it represents to me. I feel like a kid watching Star Trek. and you know, to boldly go where nowhere has gone before, and then through that vortex you just go into the time machine.
Way to choose the movie to idolize the future. Well, Laura, what questions do you have?
Well, you're the perfect person to talk about this Museum of the Future, of course. And why do you think that it's fitting that this beautiful structure is in Dubai?
Where else would it be? That's the question I would ask. Because Dubai thinks in 100-year cycles. Most countries think in one election cycle. We think 100 years ahead. Beyond that, the visualization of this moment in history, to me, is to build an edifice which is for the next millennia. Today's the beginning of the future, and that is the way I see it. So the way we are looking at this is a moonshot. And if you go back to, again, into the 1960s, where we went to the moon, it was actually designed as a moonshot, as something which is radical and creative. And Dubai is building moonshots everywhere. Wherever you look, there is a little moonshot. So I always say that doing the impossible in Dubai is fairly routine. Miracles occasionally. This is one of those miracles. And I think we are trying to inspire a generation and really a group of people in the future and bringing it all together. Today's size does not matter in terms of a country. It's the will, it's the courage, it's the essence of who we are and the philosophy of what we are doing. That's already happening here. This is just a very visible, very present, and the most amazingly beautiful symbol that we can have. And it's really proud of, I feel really proud driving by every single day. And I think we should not be complacent that, you're driving past and it's just another building. It's not. Every single day it should inspire us to do something fresh, new, and beautiful.
Indeed. They say a person's reality is determined by the people he or she surrounds themselves with. Your best friends will define who you are. So when you live within an environment that a definitely can achieve environment, you tend to end out the same. But Mr. Tariq, let me speak from, you're a futurist yourself, so from a futuristic perspective, why is it so important that organizations and governments must look ahead?
The simple analogy that I can give to you, we all drive a car and we have a rearview mirror. We look at the rearview mirror for about 5% of the time, only when we slow down, accelerate, or change direction. 95% of the time we look forward. It is not just important to change, it's absolutely critical. There's an existential threat that is there at this moment in time. The technological shifts that are happening, the digitization of the world, is the first starting point. That is going to change society, so there will be a societal transformation, which will change humanity, and then it will change us. So all of these things are happening one after the other. And if we just sort of sit by and say, well, we've run our company in the following way and we'll continue to run it in the future, it won't work. 75% of the companies that were born in the 20th century, more than 20 years ago, will no longer exist by the end of this decade. And 50% of the companies replacing those 75% going, new ones coming in, have not been born today. So it is all to play for. The acceleration is exponential. It's not growing one step at a time. So if we do not jump on that, it's like riding a wave. It's like surfing on top of a wave. If we don't jump on top of it, we'll actually get left behind. It's an existential threat. We won't survive. Companies won't survive. Governments won't survive. And the shift is so much that we have to find a way and to build internal resilience and agility. That is what is necessary. Otherwise, companies will struggle. And we see this all around us.
Indeed. I mean, if you do not change, you will end up being changed. Well, I love that analogy right there. But what about that person that you missed? I mean, some of us look a little bit to the back on that small mirror, some look ahead. What about those who look at their phone?
The ones who look at the phone will get left behind. apart from the fact that they'll actually hit the car in front of you because you're driving there, looking at the phone, not looking back. I mean, the bottom line is, I think what we really need to do is to be able to see ourselves and position ourselves into the future. I use the phrase leading from the future, learning from the future. My view is that the future has already really happened. It's just unevenly distributed. And we have now a symbol of that future, so everything can actually coalesce around this center. I call Dubai as a center of the future. And this is the heart, the soul, the spirit of that center. And that's how I visualize it, and think that's what we need to see it as.
I'm leaving with a different mentality tonight.
Yeah, me too. And we spoke several times during the pandemic, a difficult time for Dubai, but the whole time it seemed to me that Dubai and the UAE was looking forward. We were going to get through this, become stronger. Where now do you see Dubai and its role in the future? What lies ahead?
The future is really bright. As I said earlier, size is not important anymore. It is basically how much courage we have, what will we have, the collective intelligence of the people around us. One of the things I say that the world is going to get digitized because anything that can be digitized will be, because it's 1,000 times faster and 1,000 times cheaper. But anything and everything that cannot be digitized, love, harmony, compassion, intuition, common sense, judgment, ethics, trust, these are our human emotions, and these are the ones we need to build on. So as we build our future, and as Dubai builds its future, we need to be tapping into some of these things. Now, Dubai had the 3 T's of Dubai: transport, trade, and tourism. Now we have another 3 T's, and that is going into technology, into transformation, and into trust, building an environment of trust. So we'll have 6 T's of Dubai, and that is going to be our future. And I think what we can now look forward to is that this symbol enables us to really put the stake in the ground, and today should really be the beginning of the future. Today marks that moment. Today marks the next 1,000 years. And I think if we can symbolize in our minds and our heads that this is what it is, Dubai will be dead in the center of producing something amazing and wonderful. And we are here, been here for over 30 years, and this is home. And it feels so proud and a moment of sort of humility for me to be able to be some part of this whole journey. And I'm very grateful to be here.
Mr. Tariq, this is as genuine and as authentic as it gets. To be honest, let me be more articulate here. I don't remember a conversation going this deep with a legit futurist. So you spoke about living in the future, and how the current reality is distorted and it's just shaping itself to become the future you live in. So we're definitely not fortune-telling when we're answering this question, and we're not using the laws of probability, but what do you think the future has in store for Dubai?
Dubai has this essence of seizing the moment and capturing things that most people just let go by. What we have, how I see the future of Dubai is that a gem in the middle of the desert, this is a symbol of that gem and building the next 1,000 years. And I remember talking to some of the government officials, and I sort of said, if we look back, the last time this happened was 1,000 years ago in the Muslim world. And that was in Andalusia, in Cordoba and Alhambra. And the next Cordoba is actually Dubai, building the next 1,000 years. So technology and stuff like that is fine. But as I said, I think we need to become more human as we go into the future. Technology should enable us, not lead us. Technology should support us, not drive us. It's like riding a horse. We are on top of the horse. The horse is bigger and stronger than us. So technology can be bigger and stronger than us. But we control it. We ride it. We enjoy that whole process. So I can go into the specifics of technology and businesses, whether it's finance or sustainability or whatever. What I think we need to be very careful is not over-celebrate and forget realities, not to forget the issue of sustainability and then go out there and just forget the fact that we have a carbon footprint. We need to be looking at climate change, we need to be looking at all of those challenges, because these biggest challenges in our life at this point in time, and Dubai is leading a lot of those, are the biggest opportunities. So the end of COVID, the end of Expo, the beginning of this, these are all seminal moments that define us, and that is the energy that we need to capture, and those are the moments we need to capture. This is a moment of history. We need to capture those and drive ourselves through that.
I completely get it. You have to be aware of the past, aware of the present, and have your eyes on the right prize about the future. And that technology will never, ever replace great teachers, but technology with the hands of great teachers can make a transformation.
It does. It's an enabling tool, and that's the way it should be. It should not dominate us, not control us. You mentioned the cell phones and so on. I think the ability to tell great stories, the ability to build questions of the future. The greatest people watching the show today are the ones who are asking the greatest questions, not looking for the answers. Because the future, the void, is about those amazing exploration. It's like Columbus. It's like going out there into the unknown and finding something truly beautiful.
Wow.
Well, as I said before, perfect person to talk about the Museum of the Future. So we thank you, Tariq Qureishy, for joining us today.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Yusuf.
Thank you very much for being here. You've brightened the studio.